What's up, everyone? Good evening. Happy Thursday. For those of you who are watching live, I'm getting started a couple minutes early this evening because I have a previous commitment that I need to jump to. So we're going to do this as quick as possible tonight, run through some of your questions. This is my first time that I will do this sort of live, by the way. I've never done this before, so very curious what you guys think of it. If it's helpful, do you like it? So you can let me know in one of two ways. Either if you're watching on YouTube, you can hit the like button, and the more of those likes that I see, I'll be able to just know that you guys enjoy this sort of video. So that would be your way of communicating and letting me know, and then we can do more like this. Or you can just let me know in the comments below if you enjoy this sort of video. So basically what I'm going to do in this video, we had our team go and compile a bunch of questions that you guys have asked in YouTube comments. And over the years, there's been a ton of them. And so I'm just going to answer those questions. So you're going to get the opportunity to get unique answers to questions that you may have or other people have and get some benefit and value out of that. So as we're diving in, let me know in the chat what city and state you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay. And again, as a reminder, if you like this new style, it's the first time I'm ever doing this sort of style of content and video, then let me know below and hit the like button. Okay, I'm going to be showing comments. So I wonder if I'm actually zoomed into. I may be zoomed in too much. Let's see. Okay, so the first question: what franchise did you start with? I have some money, 50K, and would love to invest into a business. The @ is the username for the person. This is a great question. One, some of you, it's not hard to find out what franchise I started with, but I don't want to say the name because I don't want to promote them, because what I started with isn't the best fit for you to start with. So I started in the juice and smoothie space specifically. And here's one of the reasons why I make videos. And this isn't to bother me. Hold on. Okay, I think this is better. So one of the reasons why I make videos is to help you avoid mistakes that I made. So I say all the time that I'm not the guy that's done it all right. I'm not the guy that's never lost money or never made mistakes. It's, the point of me making content and trying to help you is because I've made mistakes and I want to help you avoid the mistakes that I made. So if you have some money and you're like, hey, I want to invest into a business, right? Then it needs to align with four different things, right? Number one, you need to invest in a business that aligns with your skill sets. Okay. So if you're great operationally and you're weak in sales and marketing, you need to buy a franchise that is very strong in sales and marketing, and then you can fit in the operations and vice versa. Okay. Needs to align with your skill sets. If you're an introvert, you probably shouldn't buy a franchise that's a B2B franchise, where business to business, where your role as the owner is to sell and market if you're introverted, right? So something that aligns with your skill sets. Number two, a business that you believe in, like you need to believe in the business. Number three, it needs to have the proper profit potential. So you need to verify that there are people making the money that you want to make in that business. Okay. And then and there's a bunch of different ways to do this. I've made a ton of content on this before. Number four is that you need to ensure that there's the right market demand in your area. And there's just some markets where like certain businesses are saturated. Where I live in Orlando, there's all these IV drip places, right? So although IV drip could be a great business and there may be franchises that crush it, probably in this specific area, if you were trying to get it open here within like this, like 2 to 3 mile radius, probably not the best idea because there's so much competition, right? Something to think about, right? Something to think about. And, investing in a business is different than investing in like a stock. It's not like a passive thing. So just because you have 50K and just because you have some money to put and invest in something doesn't mean that you should buy a business. All right. let's move on to the next question. Let's see. Who is the username that did this one? What recommendations do you have? This was by Jacob at Jacob 111111111. This was by this person. This person asked this question. All right, what recommendations do you have for low-cost franchises? Just looking to get started on something that's relatively easy to get into. Are there any specific franchises that you'd recommend? We have a lot of franchises that we recommend because we're at Franchise Empire. We're in that business and helping people find, vet, and launch franchises. What we recommend to one person, although could be a great franchise, may not be what we recommend to you because of the exact reasons we talked about: skill set, your overall behavioral personality profile, your specific market demand, like what area you're in. So there's all these different factors where it really depends, right? But we do have uh, we do have, I put together a list of 5 low cost franchises that make $1 million. There are only 5 out of the 1,000 that we have access to. But I also wrote up a whole 17-page PDF on it. Actually, I'm trying to see if I can find it. Hold on, 5 low cost PDF. I'll actually share my screen real quick, and so you can see it and get an idea of it. Present, share screen. And so, by the way, you can get it for free. You can get the whole list for free. franchiseempire.com/low cost. So you can see 5 low cost franchises that make $1 million. You can see here on the right hand side, it's 17 pages long. So we tell you what the names of the businesses are. We give you a breakdown, startup costs, all those different things. So franchiseempire.com/low cost. And hello, everyone. Hello, Pina Colada from Chicago. Hey, Maria from San Diego. What's up, Rippy? What's up, Joe? So that's what I would recommend. So yes, you can look at those 5 low cost. If you want specific recommendations, and you can set up a call with our team on our website, free 15-minute call, and see what's available in your area. And let me see. Let me just make it easy for you in terms of being able to potentially just click the link, and I'll drop it in the I'll drop it here in the comments. All right, let's move on to the next question, because again, we're speeding through this tonight. And again, if you're just watching and tuning in, this is the first time that I've ever done this sort of live of just purely answering your questions that we plucked from YouTube comments. So if you like this style of video and you get value out of it, hit the like button, let us know, and drop a comment and let us know. And I'll know to do more of these, because I don't know if this is going to work, if you guys are going to even like it or feel like you're getting value out of it. Let's move to the next question. Someone said, let's see, do you want to, here's one. Do you have an LLC at all along with your franchises? Any thoughts on having one or advantages of doing so? It's funny how often this question actually comes up. So disclaimer, I'm not a tax advisor or an attorney, and generally speaking, before figuring out what sort of entity that you should have to structure your business, you should consult definitely a tax person to understand how it impacts you and how you want to have it structured. I could get super nerdy and technical in this answer. I'm trying to get my seat to go higher. So yeah, so number one, you should always have an entity for your business. Like, for those of you who are more experienced, that's obvious. I know sometimes, we have people that are earlier on in their learning process and haven't really owned a business before. So you should always have an entity, right? If you own a business, whether you should have an LLC, whether you should have an S corp, or a C corp or whatever that is, that depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If it's just you in the business, depends on a variety of factors. What I can say is that all of my businesses have always been LLCs, every single business that I've had. And I've had many other LLCs outside of my franchises, right? And so, generally speaking, all my businesses have been in an LLC. When I had multiple locations of franchises, each location had its own LLC. And you'll find that most multi unit operators will do that and have a separate LLC for each location or separate entity. What becomes cool is that an LLC is what's called a pass through entity, right? Meaning that all of the profits or losses from the LLC flow through to you personally. All right. And so what happens is you can also pay, that means you pay self-employment taxes, so like Medicare, FICA, all that stuff, um, on your earnings. So what some people will do, and this is what we did this a few years ago. This saved us a bunch of money in taxes. You can have an LLC, but you elect to be taxed as an S corp. So from a legal perspective, you have an LLC, but in the eyes of the IRS, you're taxed as an S corporation. And when that happens, you are required to pay yourself what's called a reasonable compensation salary, meaning you have to pay yourself a salary like through payroll, right? Like as a W-2 employee, similarly to what you would pay someone if you hired them in that role. And so what happens is you pay your payroll taxes on that income, and then anything above and beyond that, you can take as what's called a distribution from the business. This is stuff I love to talk about. This gets me so excited. The nerdy stuff, the financial stuff. Man, why do I love talking about this stuff so much? So as an example, if you decide that you're going to pay yourself a reasonable comp salary of $50,000 a year, because that's what, and usually you have to do a special questionnaire that determines like what the reasonable comp is. So you have the justification. I know our CPA would have us do that annually. But let's say your business has $200,000 in profits. So you pay yourself 50, now you have 150 grand in profits. You can take the other 150 as a distribution, and then you don't have to pay self-employment taxes on the other 150. You still have to pay federal income taxes, but you don't pay self-employment taxes. So that's how I think one year we saved ourselves like $10,000 or $15,000 in taxes, from just electing to be taxed as an S corp. So, yeah, hopefully that was like valuable to you. And mostly less owner of passive franchises. Joe, actually, it's funny that you say that. Joe said interested in mostly less owner involvement, passive franchises. I would say, generally speaking, franchises are not passive. If you have an operating partner, it can definitely be more passive. Give them a percentage of the business, incentivize them, etc., where it's their responsibility to run it. But there are more ones that there are more of franchises actually I just did a short video on this today. Salon suites. So Joe lives in my area. We've connected. We've had lunch. Joe, right across the street from us, there's a Phoenix Salon Suites. And so that is like a more passive franchise. Although when we broke down the numbers, they weren't super attractive. The startup costs were really high. The average sales were fairly low compared to like the investment. The sales were only half of the average sales were only, I think, about half of like the startup cost, which usually want to see it reverse. You want to see a higher amount of sales, like 2-to-1 sales to investment ratio, where this was only 0.5 to 1. So salon suites are more passive because you're literally just basically becoming a landlord. You're renting out the suites to people who cut hair and do makeup and do all sorts of things. And you basically become a landlord at that point. Sean said, but you can't take that distribution until the end of the year. Really? You sure about that? I don't know. If so, that's interesting. That's news to me if that is the case. I'm not sure that I've ever heard someone say that, but I will definitely look into that because, yeah, I'm not going to comment any further on that. All right, next question. Let's see. We have someone's alive here. Stu. Yeah, I've never heard that before, Sean. I mean, I've been taxed as an S corp for multiple years. I take distributions often, very often, and I know other people who do the same as well. Stu, if I invest as a passive investor in a franchise, would I be getting my return from gross revenue or net profits or somewhere else? I wouldn't want it from net profits, as that number can be manipulated. So meaning interesting. So meaning you'd be buying the franchise with someone? Is that the question? You'd be buying the franchise with someone? Generally speaking, no one's ever going to get a return based off of gross revenue. It's definitely going to be based on the profitability of the company, but you can structure an operating agreement or partnership agreement however you want. If someone agrees to say, hey, yeah, I'll do it off of gross revenue, you could theoretically do it off of gross revenue. I don't know that I've ever seen something like that before. But yeah, I mean, profits can be manipulated, but you just have agreements in how it's structured overall, and targets on labor costs or gross margins and the salary that person can pay themselves. And I think overall, if you're going into a partnership where you think someone's going to manipulate the numbers, you just probably shouldn't go into that partnership. Is the advice that I would give you. I mean, I have people on my team that run my payroll that have access to all kinds of sensitive information where they can do all kinds of crazy things. But I hire people that that I can trust. So, yeah. As an example, when I was running the stores, I mean, I had, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, checking our safe and doing the drops at the bank. We just had ways to verify the information. So there's always safeguards you can put in place. Boom, boom, boom. Yes, silent partner. Joe says, get a second opinion on distribution timing. I certainly will get a second opinion. Are you hold on, are you saying me get a second opinion on distribution timing, Joe? Or are you saying that to Sean? And yeah, quarterly estimated taxes are fun as an entrepreneur. I guess it could be worse, right? Because as a W-2 employee, they're taking the taxes out, every paycheck. And but as an entrepreneur, you pay quarterly estimated taxes, which just happened. The deadline was 12 days ago. Okay, what other questions do we got? I'm gonna keep going maybe for like 5 more minutes, and then I have to run. What other questions did I have in here preloaded? All right, someone said, hey, so it seems pretty straightforward to buying a franchise and they all seem pretty profitable. So what's the hard part or the catch to getting one? Oh, it's funny. The catch is that buying a franchise is not straightforward, and they are not all very profitable. So that's the catch. There's over 4,000 franchise businesses in the United States. Okay, over 4,000 different franchise brands. I would estimate that around 80% of them you should stay away from. So most of them are not great. Most of them are not great for a few reasons. Number one is that they don't have a proven track record of success, right? And they don't have enough stability in terms of the amount of franchisees and royalty revenue that they get to have robust support that you would want as a franchisor. So if a brand only has, 5, 10 franchisees, it's very hard to build a robust support, have a support team at the corporate headquarters to support you, right? And they probably are still trying to figure things out. So that would be like one red flag. Now everyone starts somewhere, right? But how much financial backing do they have? Number two is that not all franchises are profitable. There are some franchise brands where the unit economics, meaning the actual potential the profit potential for you as a franchise owner sucks. Because here's what happens. I see it all the time in people who reach out, I want to franchise my business. I have a business, I want to franchise it. And I'll ask them about it. Great. How long have you been in business? I've been in business for 6 months. And it's like, well, what? You don't have anything that's proven yet. You haven't proven the model. How are you going to franchise something that's only been open for 6 months? Or they say, like, how much money is it making? We're doing $300,000 in sales. What? Like, how are you even supporting yourself on $300,000 in sales? And how in the world are you going to take someone's life savings or an investment where they're not going to be able to support yourself? So what happens is you have these people who are franchising their business that have no, what's the phrase I'm looking for? What's that phrase? Not no right. Damn it. I can't remember the phrase I'm looking for, but they should not be franchising their business, basically. So here's the thing. You have to do your due diligence with the franchise and have to verify that it all comes down to this. Are there happy and profitable franchisees generally? If there's a track record of franchisees that are happy, meaning when you talk to them, they go, yes, I would do this again. I'm glad I made this investment. If I had to start all over again, I would do it again. Number two, you verify that those franchisees are making money, not just sales, but that they're able to produce profits or pay themselves. And are they happy for the return on investment based on the time invested in the business? Right? If someone's only putting 5-10 hours a week into the business and they're making 50 grand a year, you may be like, oh, you're only making 50 grand a year in profit. But they're like, they're only putting in 5 to 10 hours a week. Whereas you might have someone that's producing more. Maybe you find out someone's only making 50 grand and they're working 50 hours a week. This is why everything's not straightforward. I post all these videos about how much money franchises make in sales. Everyone comes flocking in. Sales don't mean anything. It's all about the profit. And it's like a profit is the most complicated thing in business. And there's no standard. There's no standard. There's no standard. Peace out, Joe. So anyways, that's the hard part. What I would highly recommend for all of you, by the way, for all of you that are thinking, number one, is franchising for me? Number two, how much money can I make with franchising? I would highly recommend that you check out our Franchise Buyers Academy. It's literally 9 years of my experience in franchising, packaged into some modules online that you can digest pretty easily and walk out. We go over the exact sales to investment ratios that you need to know. We go pull up specific franchises, pull up how much money they're making. We pull up their FDDs. We pull up their startup costs. We show you how to fund them. We show you how to scale them. We pull up profit margins on some of the franchises. So it's quite detailed. And it really gives you a clear sense of how to make money owning franchises and what the different models and options are out there and the pros and cons. So we talk about service-based franchises versus retail-based franchises versus, so on and so forth. So if you guys are interested in that, you can go to franchiseempire.com/FBA and you can get access to our Franchise Buyers Academy there. It's definitely one of our most popular resources. We've had hundreds of people now go through it, and I know you would get uh, a lot of value. All right, I'm going to hammer through one more question. Let's see. Let me take that down. Movement. I have a video on this, so just type in my name and how to buy a franchise with no money. And I have a really good video on that. There's just no chance I could cover in the level of detail and depth that I would want to in right now. Let's see. Angela, do you think a fitness franchise is risky and higher turnover than service one? Yes. 100%. I mean, you got to figure you have to sign a 10-year lease typically. You have to do a very expensive build out. You're personally guaranteeing the lease. Whereas a service, it'll probably take you a year to get open. You're probably looking at $300,000 to $600,000 in startup costs, if not more. In a service-based franchise, a lot of them you can get up and running for less than 250 grand. You're not signing any sort of commercial lease. So yes, I would 100% say so. And we have the 5 low cost lists, franchiseempire.com/low cost. Those 5 low cost franchises that make $1 million, 17-page PDF. I believe they're all service-based franchises. So you should definitely check that out. Okay, let's do this one as the last question. Because this is one of the questions that drives me crazy when people ask, what do you think of X? This is what I call a lazy question. So the better the question you ask, the better the answer you get. So what you want to learn how to do is ask really good questions. And especially once you're validating a franchise and talking to franchisees, if you ask poor questions, you're going to get poor answers. If you ask great questions, you get great answers. So what do I think about the daycare, grooming, boarding business is a very general business question. There's all sorts of directions that I can go answering that question that may not give you any sort of insight on what you're actually looking for, right? What do you think about X? I have a lot of thoughts about it. Like, so what you want to what I would come back with is, what's your specific question? Like, what are you specifically looking for, right? And so you may say, hey, do you think that the profit potential of a grooming business is better than an actual dog daycare? Or what do you think the pros and cons are versus daycare versus grooming? Maybe that would be like a more appropriate question. So I brought this. I pulled this question because I wanted to go over this with you guys. So again, the quality, you got to ask great questions. You want to be as specific as possible with your questions. Do not ask, what do you think, or what are your thoughts on? It's literally the most annoying question because it's a lazy question, right? So you want to ask better questions, you get better answers. Like Angela, right? So Angela asked a great question. Do you think a fitness franchise is risky and higher turnover than a service one? Very specific, very pointed, right? What do you do if the franchise requires a net worth? Then you got to build up your net worth or get a partner that you can have a combined net worth that you meet the requirements. Again, watch the video that I made on how to buy a franchise with no money or little money or something like that. So, guys, let me know if you enjoyed this style of video. We have a spreadsheet that our team pulled of over 57 questions. I only pulled, I think, 4 or 5 and then answered some of you guys' live. So if you like this style of video, let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button on YouTube. I'll be able to see by the ratio of likes to views that this was popular. And if so, I'm going to do more and more and more like this. And then, you can leave comments on and questions on videos in the future that you watch. And you just might find that you hop on and I'm answering one of your questions. Guys, make sure, look, for those of you who you're anywhere in the franchise buying process, you need to go get access to the Franchise Buyers Academy. It's going to protect you. It's going to help you reduce your risk. It's going to save you a ton of time, wasted hours, and pain by being able to go through that first. I wish I had that information prior to buying my franchise. And I talk to franchisees all the time that they start going through some of their stuff. They're like, I wish I knew this before I bought my franchise. Why didn't I come across you before I bought? So don't be that person, because you don't want to wake up 5 years from now with the regret of like, oh shit, I'm in this situation. What if I had gotten the Franchise Buyers Academy, learned some of the things, maybe I wouldn't have made this mistake, right? Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Peace out. Have a great day.